What if the biggest thing slowing your business down isn't lack of effort, but the systems, processes and admin happening behind the scenes? Welcome to the Kent Business Show. I'm your host, Rachael Bryant, where we share the stories behind the businesses powering Kent. In this episode, I sit down with Nick from Select Technology, a long-established Kent business helping organisations improve productivity, streamline processes and make better use of technology through automation, AI and smarter systems. Nick shares the journey behind Select Technology, from its beginnings as a computer shop in Sevenoaks to becoming a trusted technology partner for businesses across Kent and beyond. He also explains how his role has evolved into helping companies identify inefficiencies, improve processes and build solutions that genuinely add value. We explore what AI really means for businesses today, the difference between automation and AI, and why so many companies are still losing time through disconnected systems, spreadsheets, and what Nick calls swivel chair working. We also dive into the importance of keeping people at the centre of business, using technology in the right places, and making sure growth and innovation never come at the cost of trust, relationships, and accountability. So whether you're a Kent business owner curious about AI, looking to improve your systems, or simply wanting to work more efficiently, this episode is packed with practical insight. Let's get into it.
Kent is powered by business, and every business has a story. Join your host, Rachael Bryant, on the Kent Business Show as she meets the businesses powering Kent, sharing their journeys, their experiences, and what they've learned along the way. A real conversation with real people, giving you real inspiration. This is the Kent Business Show, powered by your video team.
Nick, welcome to the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So we are talking about Select Technology. What's your role at Select Technology?
So I had this title, AI and Innovation Lead, which is made up by our marketing team to sort of explain what I do, because it sounds more interesting than software manager. What I do is I consult with businesses on, a lot of it is about business process and business productivity and what have you. So it's not the AI in terms of producing slop for social media and,
Right.
silly images and videos. It's real use of proper AI in business context. So we go in, we look at their businesses and we understand what their processes are. First part of that is usually, let's just refine the process because the process is a bit out of date or doesn't exist. We get that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Can you show me your processes for this?
Not really.
No, I can't. No. Work out the sort of optimal process, and then we deliver applications and AI to make that quicker, better. Better is a subjective, but quicker and better, and to make the best use of technology and the most appropriate use of technology. So we don't go in and go, let's just have AI everywhere, which I think is a big mistake that a lot of people do. We go and go, right, where is AI actually going to add value? Let's put it there. Where is automation going to add value? And there is a difference, which we can get into. And where do you want to keep your humans doing human things?
Fab. So let's go back. So that's your role.
Yes.
What about Select Technology as an entirety then? What was it founded for? What was the problem and how does it service Kent?
You might have to speak to others in terms of the details of that question. So the business was founded in 1994 by Nigel Potter, who had been working in IT but had an itch to run his own business. And it started as a shop front in Sevenoaks. You go in, buy your computer, take it away, and then, if something goes wrong with it, you bring it back and they get out their screwdrivers and away they go. Which was a very popular business model for a while in the 90s. And then between them, Currys and Amazon entirely smashed that. But one of the strengths of Selected has always been very adaptable. So they moved into services and B2B services initially with projects, and then service desk and IT support came in long before I came in, I think about 2008, but I could be wrong. And it grew and grew from there. And it's a very successful business. It's been, what, 32 years that makes it. It will be in November. It's about 50 of us in the business now. Nigel has since retired and have become executive chairman, so he now turns out once a month for the board meeting, and his son Nick has taken the role of MD, and so it's a good long-standing business. They're very nice people, I have to say that, because
Of course,
they will see this. So, no, but they genuinely are very nice people. I often say it's exemplified by the fact that shortly after we started the business, employee number 3 or 4, a chap called Dave, was taken on as a sort of trainee apprentice, and he's still with us as our internal IT manager now. That tells you something, I think.
It really does, doesn't it?
And and then in that sort of constant adaptation, a few years ago, I've been with the company 6.5 years. I joined initially as a sort of advisor consultant type role to our customers. And my background is software management, corporate software in some very large and boring corporate businesses. And 2 years ago or so, we were like, we need to be looking at this. I had been saying that for a while. But 2 years ago, there was a decision, right, we're going to start a proper function, which we call Future Workplace.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to create, the workplace of the future. That has evolved as well. Things are moving so fast now. Every time you think you've got a handle on it, Richard Feynman said about quantum physics, if you think you understand it, you haven't understood it. And it kind of feels a bit like that in the technology world at the moment. It's changing so fast. There's going to be some maths nerd going, that wasn't Feynman, that was, but I think it was Feynman. Anyway, so we started that, and it evolved. It was initially based on Microsoft's Power Platform, which is very good for sort of small point solutions. And from that, we kept finding the same problems over and over again. So now we're just in the process of launching our own product platform, which we call OneView, which I think is the answer to all of the SME world's problems. But,
I'm hooked now then.
There you go. Do you want some?
I do. And as an SME, this is the thing, isn't it? Is AI seems to have... It's funny, when you get deep into the conversation of AI, you realise it's been around for years. We just haven't noticed it.
AI is the label applied to the most advanced technology at the time.
Yeah. And so things that have been around for years that we wouldn't have considered as AI, whereas now it's like AI is really thought of as just your chatbots,
that's very reductive.
Yeah,
there's a lot more to it, and there's a vast amount. I think we made some particular choices about what is our sector, because you can do all sorts of things with AI, and the medical advances, for example, are astonishing. That the things that AI can do. It can predict cancers on things that much earlier than human doctors would spot more, those kind of things. They're incredible, but they're also not our world.
No.
There's you have to be kind of, what do we do? And Anita, our marketing manager, has been very strong on that as well. Going, yes, but what is it? What are you doing, and why? And that's been really helpful to kind of focus the mind. I think AI... as you say, in most people's minds now, it's chatbots, and that is quite reductive. I think it's kind of like saying that a smartphone is WhatsApp. There's a lot more, but people tend to experience that bit and focus on it. So part of what I'm doing is going up, but and what can we do to extend and develop that?
So I suppose, what is it that businesses are hearing to then go, oh, Select Technology are going to solve that problem? What's the problem they've got you're coming in and solving?
It's one of the big ones is I call swivel chair working. So I've got a CRM system, I've got a production or a sales system, I've got a finance system, and I've got my email, and I've got these 37 spreadsheets, and so on. I've got all this stuff, and I'm set up with a lovely multi-monitor setup on my desktop so that I can just keep going backwards. Why do you need multi-monitor? I remember being very excited the first time I had 2 monitors on my desk. I thought this was the most amazing thing in the world. Why do you need that? Because your swivel chair working all the time. So one of the things that we do a lot with OneView, but as in a kind of consultative way, is to try and bring that together. So, okay, you've got your CRM. So let's name some products. So maybe you've got Pipedrive for your CRM and marketing stuff.
Okay.
And maybe probably your sales. You've probably got let's say Sage or Xero doing your financials. You've got an email system of some sort, some of which is going to group mailboxes like your hellos and your infos and all those kind of things. And maybe you've got something like Trello for your project management to do, and you're dragging your cards around and what have you. And you're doing that the whole time, switching backwards and forwards. And every time you change attention, there's research on this, and I'm going to misquote it very badly, but every change of focus costs 15 to 30 seconds of productivity. You just go, no, right now I'm doing this. And you get that lag, and they're all different user interfaces. So I've got to learn that this one I do that, but this one I have to do that, and that kind of thing. And what we do is we bring it in and we integrate with those systems to give you so that it is possible to get a view where in one screen you can say, using that example, here's the marketing campaign that we were doing, and here is the sale, and here is the project details in Trello, and here is the invoicing that was sent to finance, and actually that bill has been paid in one screen. So you just go working, boom, 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 boom. It's more productive, it's cleaner, you've only got to learn one interface. In the background, it's still talking to those systems. So you do things in that interface and it will update, it will move a card in Trello for you, it will create hours in Sage and so on. That's one option. The swivel chair working is I think is a real problem. And also the other thing that we tend to do with that is, because it will have its own database as well, right? So give us your 37 spreadsheets and we will analyze those 37 spreadsheets and we will turn them into tables in that application. So rather than going, I did that and it was off of this spreadsheet, it's all contained in one place. And so that's one of the problems that we get. We get much more targeted ones. So we have a customer that import fresh fruit from 80 different suppliers in a number of countries. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And it's seasonal, right? We in Britain, we want fresh fruit.
Yeah.
All of it, all year round, and that means that it has to be, they have to follow the seasons on their switching importers and what have you. What that means is their importers send in these shipping documents and say, right, we're sending you whatever 20 pallets of this, and those documents are in a different format for every grower. And there's some poor person who has to go, oh right, I've got one of those and I've got to go and so for them we've built a machine learning system. It's not AI, again, AI/ML, different things, but it's a machine learning system that goes and, right, that shipping document has arrived in that mailbox, pick it up, read it, work it out based on these machine learning rules. Okay, if there's a number which is 11 characters long and starts with an M, then that's a ship registration number. If there's this type of number, that's a grower certification, and it works it out so that people can send in a document that is never seen before, and it will go, right, okay, I know what that is, and then that will fill in the database for you.
I'm guessing this learns this in seconds, really, or minutes.
Yeah, they take a bit of training, but
Okay.
you know, with each it's an accelerating process. So the first one, the first document we gave it went, I don't know, you know, and my team spent, you know, probably a day going, right, okay, this is what that is, and breaking it down. And then the second one you give it, it's a few hours.
Yeah.
The 100th one you give it, yeah, then it's going, right, okay, I understand all of these
Got
patterns
that,
now, got it, you know. So
But it doesn't, it also, like you say, it doesn't, once it's got it, it's got it. Whereas I've done it where you're working on, like you say, 5 different programs. You've got Trello, Asana, Monday, and Notion. And all of a sudden I'm like, right, in this one, I'm doing that. And then I go back to Trello, which I've learnt really well. But because I've been playing in Notion or Monday for a couple of days, I go back to Trello and I go, how do I do this again? Whereas that ML, that is going to go, it can flick between them.
yeah.
It doesn't forget almost.
Yes, exactly. And the combined user interface. So also having things like, if you've got a process that runs across a few different applications, I can give you, well, we built this internally for our own benefit, where we've got a system that we use to communicate with our customers, Basecamp. We use to communicate with them. We send messages and we update tasks and what have you. Then we have another system which is where we have to record our time for doing things. So the engineers were kind of going, right, I've done the Basecamp thing. Now I've got to come over here and tell this system that I did the Basecamp thing. You know, all we've done is combine that into one interface where they go, this is what needs to go to Basecamp, and it's just taken me 20 minutes to do that, save. And it simultaneously goes, bam, does them both. So that is, yeah, it's powerful for us, and it also allows us to be very clear. This data's going there, that data's going there, you know, and you can't forget to do, you know, because we've all forgotten to do timesheets in our firm, you know, you can't forget to do your timesheet because it's all part of the same process and so on. So it gives you more control over the process as well. So that's, yeah, so there are different examples. It's modular, and we'll sort of build for whatever the problem is. We've got another grower that it's all about quality control because their quality control is outsourced, and how do we manage that? We're just working with a manufacturing company at the moment about how do we maintain optimal stock levels. We're working with an events management company who are heroically managing multiple events every year on spreadsheets and you know, trying to lift that up and modernize it. So it's very adaptable. But the point is business processes, and that's kind of where I started in IT, was mapping business processes, and then I drifted out into management, and I'll come back. What we are talking about fundamentally is information received, processed, stored, output. Does it, to a degree, it almost doesn't matter what that information is about. It could be about fruit imports, it could be about event management. We've got a shit operator company, you know, it sort of doesn't matter, because the back end process is there's information comes in here, stuff happens to it, then information goes out there.
And this, I mean, it sounds like a dream. Like, I'm sat here as an SME business, and having interviewed many now, it's this problem that we have where we see a problem, you go in, create a business to fix it, and then the many different hats you didn't know you had to wear all of a sudden become very heavy.
Yeah.
And the hat you originally wanted to wear is either way up high, not getting ever worn, or actually, I don't know where it's gone now either. Whereas this is going, well, look here, let's put it in one place, give you that time back so you can wear the hat you wanted to wear.
Is exactly that. I think I often say nobody ever wakes up in the morning and says, oh good, I can go and do some more admin to, you know, that's not, I mean, some people do, but you know, they're not
Hire them people, right?
But you're right, you found a business because you are passionate about, or at least believe there is a good business opportunity in X, whatever X is, right? And often founders find themselves never doing the thing. My uncle was an architect, retired now, but he very excitedly went off and founded his own practice in the early mid-80s. And by the mid-90s was saying, I never do any architecting now. All I do is talk to the accountants, and I do the line management, and I do the, I'm not doing the thing that I spent however many years at university learning how to do. And yes, I think trying to make those processes slicker so that people spend less time, and my personal mission in life is to eradicate copying and pasting between spreadsheets. If we, I've got a spreadsheet here, I've got a spreadsheet here, and I'm copying and pasting. Oh God, that is not a function that makes the best possible use of the capabilities of the human brain. And that's what it's about really. Is making that admin easier. You still got to do it. You've got to, you've got to run your business. You've got to do your tax returns and make sure your company's house filing is all that sort of stuff. But so there is this stuff that is necessary but dull. And most SMEs, and actually I think most corporates, if they're honest about it, spend far too much of their time on the necessary but dull. Or corporates just have the advantage of scale, so they get to have, here's a whole separate
division,
corporate, necessary but dull department over there, and then here's the people who are doing the fun stuff. But in an SME, you can't do that, and as you say, it quite often founders end up not doing the thing they think is fun, paying other people to do the fun stuff while they're doing the business management.
And what we've seen as well is when you start to allocate or find the correct systems that support you and give you back the spark of why you started your business and things like that, the productivity grows, you're getting more income, which then actually opens up for that next level to bring in the admin team that want to do admin and things like that. So again, it's that system, isn't it? But as an SME, it's hard to sometimes see outside the box or think like a corporate when you feel like, but it's just me. It doesn't have to be just you.
No, and I think, well, there's a bit of, that old saying, don't dress for the job you've got, dress for the job you want. And I often say that with very small businesses, because it's easier to build the systems for scale and then grow into them than it is to scale and then go, oh, my systems don't work, and then have to, so I do often say to people, do it, build your systems as if you are whatever it is you want to be. And there are founders who like, well, there's me and there's my mate and we do this and that's the business and that's what we want to be. Okay, great, and a small off-the-shelf CRM and a few spreadsheets probably fine to run that business. But if you're planning to be 20, 30, 50, 100 people, that's not going to last. It's not going to scale. And it will break quite quickly as well. It'll break at, I tend to think about 5 people. Once you've got 5 people in a business, there's more information than any one of them can hold. And that's where those systems start to fall apart. But so that's one approach. And then we also have the complete, rather aggressive sounding rip and replace.
Okay.
Which is, I've got these systems and frankly, I'm fed up of it. I don't want to integrate with them. I just give me a system that will do what all of these systems will do so that I can just chuck all that away. And we'll happily build an entire system to run as many aspects of your business as you wish it to run.
And what problems do you see those sort of opportunities solving for business owners when they come in and go, let's just start from scratch, build me what I need?
It sounds really dull, but it's process control in terms of, because where you're moving between systems, there's lots of potential points of human error. Every time you're going, I've come out of this system, I've looked at that, as well as the loss of productivity, there's the human error risk. Some piece of information that is mandatory on one system and not mandatory on another, and that kind of thing. So it's data quality, it's better forecasting, better reporting. Reporting is much easier. One of the things that SME companies that I talk to find really difficult is actually going, so what is the state of your business now? And I had this conversation not long ago. What's the state of your business now? Well, what do you mean? Well, tell me the whole picture of your business. Well, I know how much I've got in the bank. Okay, good. That's a good start. I'm glad you do. But what's the value of your stock? How many people are on holiday next week? All of these questions that are all, you need to know this stuff.
Yeah.
But also, and how does your current state of your business track in terms of what you're forecasting and your growth plans and what have you? And the answer is always, yes, I can answer that. Next week, maybe you give me a week. I'll get my admin manager to pull all that information together. And no, don't, because I don't actually want it. I don't want to point out that is the problem. So if you've got everything in one system, you can then go, right, give me whatever it is you want. Give me the state of the business as it is now. There was a famous, the budget was enormous, but it was a few years ago, the Walmart in America introduced a system using SAP, which is a German technology, and their finance CEO, whatever he would be, CFO is an American company, so they'll have some strange senior vice president of something or other, but they could put a report of the value of the business to every stock item in every store and the value of the cash in the tills in every store to within about 10-15 minutes of accuracy.
Wow.
That, to me, that has always stuck in my mind as that's the dream, to be able to go, that is the state of my business. I've got this many employees, I've got this much cash, I've got this much stock, and I can see everything in near real time. And I would say for SMEs, you're probably doing an actual real time. Walmart obviously have physical distance is a factor in there, but so that's one of the things. So that the owner, the CEO, whatever they are, can go, I'm thinking of doing this. What's my business right now? Bosh. Okay. And then could we forecast what that would look like over time? And so I just built a forecasting system in manufacturing where it takes the last X years of sales data, and then you can apply, right, but I want to grow by X percent. They can put in, I want to grow by X percent. And then you say, and the Bank of England are forecasting interest over that period to be Y percent. So actually, if you want to grow by 10, you've got to grow by a bit more than 10 because you've got to factor for inflation. And then breaks that down by product category. And then says, right, okay, well, if you want to achieve that, this is what you need to do. And from there, you can then get into AI and start talking about, okay, how am I going to do that?
Incredible.
And this is stuff that, as I've been in IT since the late Jurassic era, and that would have been at least 6, probably 7-figure project in the early days of my career.
Yeah.
And it's now, the technology has moved on such that it's really democratized. You can get that down to really quite small budgets for the sort of businesses that we work with.
Incredible. Well, I think that's what would love to jump on next, really, is how businesses can start, what those initial steps are, and then looking at what's coming and what we need to prepare ourselves for. But before we go diving into that, we're going to flick over to our sponsor and we'll come over to that in the break. So
Lovely.
Here's our sponsor.
This podcast episode was produced by your video team and recorded right here at YVT Studios. We're a full-service content studio helping coaches, creators, and business owners turn conversations into content that connects. Need a professional space to film your podcast? We've got it. Want someone to handle the filming, editing, and strategy? That's what we do best. Looking to walk away with months of high-quality video content, all filmed in one day? Book a VIP content day. Whether you're hands-on or hands-off, we'll guide you through the process, keeping it simple, stress-free, and seriously effective. It starts with a conversation. We turn that conversation into content, and that content builds your brand. your video team, making you the hero of your brand.
Hello and welcome back to the Kent Business Show. I am still joined by Nick from Select Technology. So Nick, we've dived deep into the process and what you do, but why you? Why Nick? Why Select Technology?
Okay, that's a lot of big questions. Select Technology as a company, as I said earlier, I won't retread all that ground, but it's a good company full of good people, and we not to suggest that the others are not, but we pride ourselves on our relationships, and it's not just a technology company, but in many ways it is just a technology company, but the way we have those relationships with our customers. Nice example, one of my customers, I run pub quizzes in my spare time, and one of my customers found this out and has invited me to run their company social night.
Oh,
and
great.
run a quiz for them. And I think that it's kind of an example of the nature of the relationship. We're slogging through this technology stuff, but actually we make a point of being decent people to work with. We say what we're going to do and then we go and do it, unless there's it's a novel approach, we really, it's a cliche, but we really try and see it as a partnership. It's not even if you come to us with, say, I've got one project, okay, fine, we'll do that one project, but then we want to stay with you, and not so we can keep flogging to you, but to learn from that experience for us, to make sure that the customer is happy in the longer term, not just thank you very much, you've done that project, and we don't do that and walk away. So I think why Select Technology, because the culture and ethos of the business is about the mission statement is about enabling, I don't know the exact words off the top of my head, but it's about enabling opportunities for success for everyone, and that for everyone is important. It's not opportunities for success for the shareholders, although they are included in the everyone category. It's the employees, it's the customers, it's the suppliers, we're always trying to, how can we make this better for everyone involved in the chain, and that's what I like about it, having come from a corporate world, which is often how do we squeeze value out of both sides of the transaction and hold on to as much of it as we can. That's not the Select ethos at all. It's about how do we share value and share a little bit of joy, share a little bit of happiness in what we do. Why Nick? That's I'm far too English and lower middle class to start blowing smoke up anywhere, but I've been doing it a long time. Obviously, I've not been doing the generative AI stuff for a long time. Nobody has. I saw an advert recently for somebody. It said it was a job advert. And it said must have 10 years experience with generative AI. And I was like, well, good luck with finding that person. I like to think I'm, a nice guy, which is not a sales pitch, but it's a fact. And I have been. I'm really uncomfortable doing this, but what
I loved about as I do is have a little stalk of yourself, the business and stuff, and on there was things like like you're saying about you do quiz nights, Nigel does scuba diving and motorcycle. There's bits of this is more than just come hire us, we'll do this for you and go away. It's like we have a personality.
We do, and
it's really important for, I would say, every business to understand the personalities they're working with as well.
Yeah, I think, and increasingly so. Just to finish off the last bit, I think the real answer to what do I think is my particular selling point is I've been lucky enough to receive a lot of feedback, essentially saying Nick understands the problem quicker and comes up with solutions quicker than other people. Just I had that mindset that I just get it. I can't prove that to you on a podcast, but there you go. That's the feedback I've had. On the point about personality, yes, that's true now, but it's going to become much more important. There's a really interesting book. I'm afraid I can't remember the name of the author. There's a book called The Last Human Job, and that talks about what is the thing that humans are going to be employed to do in the future. And it's the relationship, it's the personality, it's the what IT people call the wetware, the human bit of this, right? Yeah. Because if I'm honest, there are a lot of companies that are doing and are moving in this space, right? And I'm sure they're very good. I'm not going to sit here and say, and our software is better than everyone else's software, because I don't know. I haven't tested it. It would be arrogant of me to assume that. But I know that the insight and the analysis and the relationships that we build with our customers are valuable, and that we retain customers. Getting customers is one thing, right? Retaining is a whole different point.
Yeah.
And we retain customers because of that relationship. We've got customers, one of them very kindly did a reference call for us the other day, and she started it by saying, we've been with them for 15 years.
Wow.
Which in the IT MSP world is unusual. People will drop their IT company and move to another one for a £10 a head saving, right? But our customers tend to stay. I'm not saying we've never lost a customer, but they stay with us. So yeah, and
but it's the reason.
I was talking about the last human job. That's what I was talking about. But yeah, so that the bit that we want from businesses. So you can almost think of it like a hairdresser, right? Mm-hmm. There's a I don't know what 100,000-200,000 people in the country who can give you a nice haircut, or in my case, just shave it all off. But you build a relationship with those people. Yeah. You ring up, you go, oh yeah, no, oh, is Jenny in? Oh, Jenny's not working. All right, I'll wait till next week. Because you want that ongoing thing, and it's a personal thing. And I think in the B2B world, people talk about it. Not sure everyone lives it. Yeah. And we try really hard to live it, because frankly, that's the bit that people experience. People don't experience me writing software, they experience me talking to them about the software that I've.
And this is it, isn't it? It's like, from everyone that I've interviewed for the Kent Business Show, every time I'm like, there's bits of it I'm like, today I'm like, oh my God, I know I need this, but how am I going to, do you know my thought now of how I'm going to do it? I'm just going to pick up the phone and go, Nick, do this for me.
Yeah.
And it's my worry every time I do an interview, because I'm like, I need that, I want that. I'm now just spending money.
This must cost you a fortune.
I'm like, oh gosh, I'm running a terrible business model here, because I'm spending more than I'm making. But it's because of the relationships every time I'm making with these people, and that's why I believe it's so important to have these conversations, so that people can truly see the person with, not just behind the business, because obviously you're a 50-man strong team. But there are different levels, and understanding everyone of. Someone might ring up and go, oh, Nick, I saw you on that. And you go, that's not my area. But do you know what? I know who in my team I can pass you to.
I know a person who can.
And that's already a trust builder. They go, I trust you because I've seen you, I've heard you.
Yeah, I think that's very important. You touched on, so how do we get into? I think there's a few mistakes that businesses make when thinking about automation and AI. And I'll just very quickly, the difference between the two, because it is important.
Please.
So automation doesn't require decision making or thinking. And there are loads of processes that don't require any, I've just met a contact and I need to put that contact information into my CRM. There's no decision there. You're just copying data out of one thing and into another. Or I've just had a sales order for 200 of these things and I've only got 100, therefore I need to place a purchase order for 100 in order to fill it. no decision making. It's all just clear maths, and that is automation. You can take that and go, right, okay, the machine will just do all of that for me. I don't, there's no thinking involved. AI comes along where there's thinking involved. So I've got all of those processes. An example I was talking to somebody this morning about was creating a services quote for a business services quotation. And there's a whole load of that. Who is the customer? What do they want? What services? What's their address, email, all that stuff, which is what we call deterministic. It's not, there's no thinking involved. It's just, you've got to do this, and when this happens, that always happens, and so on. When you get to the end of the process, you then want a beautiful branded document which is bespoke to that customer, which talks about their industry sector, which, and is all presented in exactly the way you want it. Now, historically, the way you do that is you then turn to your word processor and you spend the afternoon writing, right? And that's where the AI kicks in, where you go, that bit, that's where I need value. That's where and that's one of the things that I think we often, the early conversations of where is the value. One of the mistake that people make is confusing AI with magic fairy dust. It's not magic fairy dust. And sprinkling it randomly around your business is going to add confusion and potentially chaos. It's not going to add value. So and I've seen lots of businesses that do it, and I understand it, because also the corporations behind it, they make it very easy to do that, and they've got their own agenda about that, right? So where is the value? Where is the bit? That bit, I need AI. I don't need AI over here. Okay. But also, where do I want the third thing that is often not talked about enough in this conversation? So there's automation, there's AI, and then there's people. Where do I want my people? So, that's where you want them in sales. You want them in customer service setups. I would suggest it in the finance department. You want people making decisions, not machines. Where is the human intuition? There's a lot of hype that is said that I won't name individuals because I'll get in trouble, but the product vendors will tell you, with agentic AI, you can have AI run your whole business for you. It'll do everything for you. Okay, but is that the business you want to run? Is that why you went into business, to have a fleet of machines doing stuff for you? And maybe, but the thing is, even the businesses that we think of as being fully AI and fully automated, Amazon, let's say, Amazon employ tens of thousands of people around the world. It's not fully automated. So I think the point I'm trying to get across is that you need to be clear, where is the value of each. So here is something that we are doing, which is boring, which doesn't require any decision making or creativity or what have you, and is moving information around systems. Automated. Here is something we are doing which requires a certain amount of creativity, but in a fairly consistent way, and is very time consuming. Get your AI to do that. Here is something where it adds genuine joy to people's lives, or it adds value in the interaction with your customer, or whatever it might be. That's where the people are. And if you get those wrong, so if you get the AI doing what we call the deterministic bit, you can end up with some, hello, what's going on there? If you haven't done the deterministic bit, and when you get to the AI to do its creative bit, it hasn't got enough information to make the right outputs for you.
Just making up stuff.
And frankly, if you've got people doing things that, you're wasting time and money on your people. Conversely, if you've got the technology doing stuff that should be being done by people, you're going to break your trust. You're going to break, because there is research, I can't remember the numbers, but there is research about the decline in trust once your customers work out that you're AIing in the wrong place.
And this is it, isn't it? It's like even nowadays when you go on, and I did it because at the weekend I needed to speak to our utilities provider and our mobile phone people, and you cannot speak to a real human. And the amount of times we now say like, I just want to speak to a human. Do you have to go through 3 layers of robots before? And it begins to think, I can't even deal with that company. I don't want to have them provide my services because I can't speak to anybody. It does change a massive relationship between what could be a very good service, but actually it takes everything away from it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it slightly depends on what the business is. People have different expectations on different verticals. They have different expectations on different scale. So I think people understand that, you know, if you go on your bank website and start a chat, you're probably talking to a robot until it gets really stuck, at which point it will escalate, right? And I don't think people mind that because, you know, I don't want to. And I don't want to have a personal relationship with somebody at the bank. Is boring. You know, they hold my money and then they, you know, dish it out when I tell them to. But in the SME world, the small business to small business, that is all about relationships. And if you putting too much of that onto the machines, it will break. So yeah, it's finding where is the actual value and also what is the risk. I understand, you know, value versus risk, always a debate. There are some things that you might not wish to give to an AI, certainly not a cloud AI, but then we can talk about local AIs using smaller models and things like that. Without getting very technical, boring stuff. But you know, what's the value? What's the risk? Where is the right place to do it? And we talk a lot about. I'm just rambling on now. Just keep going.
Well, I find it's incredible, and what I can hear in it all as well is that ultimately this is where your future workplace comes in. Is you have those discussions and say, if I were to come to you and say, I need to sort out the processes and systems in my business by utilising AI, automation and person, which is obviously the 3 areas you're saying we need to look at, we would have this discussion and you'll say, that's an AI, that's an automation, and that's a person.
Yeah, and definitely people come to us now because of the buzzword. You know, they come to us now and say, I need AI for this. And quite often I look at the whole process and go, no, you don't. You need automation. And we'll happily help you with that automation, you know, but it's not always an AI play. I think I've forgotten what I was going to say next. That's what I think. No, it's gone. I've heard that bit out.
Well, yeah, that's fine. It's not a me problem. So what's the importance of this moving forward for the future? Now that I say the buzzword of AI is worn off in the degree of,
yeah, to a degree.
We all kind of go, oh, that's AI now. That's AI, you know. And so we know it's not this newfangled thing, but how are we moving forward with it and understanding where and when to put it in?
I think there are a lot of things that need to be considered, and then some of them are at a sort of societal and governmental level rather than anything that can be affected by business directly. So one of the challenges that I think a few people are very aware of is we're sort of going, well, you don't need to do the grunt work now because AI will do the grunt work for you. All you need is the experts to review it. And you're like, okay, but in 10 years' time, where are the next lot of experts coming from? Because if they're not doing the grunt work, where are they learning to do the next thing, right? And that is something that I think we have to grapple with over the next few years. I came into the industry and it was right, okay, here's Excel, work out how to do this. We'll train you on that. Right now we'll train you on programming languages, and now we'll train you on business process analysis and so on. And I went through that stage, and of course at the time I was frustrated and thought it was pointless, and you know, just give me a pay rise and make me the boss and I'll sort it out. But that was very valuable stuff that I still use now, and the rising generation are not getting that to the same degree, and I think we need to be very conscious about that. I think also I had a conversation with somebody recently who said that they'd reduced their team from 13 to 3 by bringing in AI, and that horrified me. Like, no, that's not the idea. I think that is a real risk, that there are some jobs that will become redundant. I don't think it's as apocalyptic as some people will say. The CEO of Anthropic, which owns Claude, he said something the other day about in 5 years' time there will be no software developers, and I thought, you've got a vested interest in that being the case, haven't you? So I don't think it's going to be as apocalyptic as some people think, and I think there is a trend over history. Jethro Tull, the inventor, not the band, created the seed drill. And a lot of people went, oh, well, that's going to put a lot of farm workers out of work. And in fairness, it did, because you just needed a couple of people walking up and down with a seed drill rather than an army of people putting seeds in with their fingers. The Industrial Revolution, obviously, the automated looms, steam looms, and all that kind of thing. Again, well, that's going to put a lot of people out of work. And computers. Well, that's going to put a lot of double entry bookkeeping clerks out of work. Yes, it will. This economy currently employs more people than have ever been employed in the British economy. So having gone through all of those, show you, right? So maybe I'm being Pollyanna, but I have some faith that things will find a way. But we need to collectively, as a society, we need to find that way together and do it. I think we need to learn from the Industrial Revolution. This probably isn't where you thought we were going to be, but
no, I'm intrigued by it, because my brain's buzzing and going, I think we're in a world now where we've seen all those things happen in the past, and rather than say, like the other business you said where they basically sacked off 10, 13 people, is how can we now use them somewhere else where our productivity is more and our business grows 10 times over, rather than go, oh, we just don't need them. You still need them. Grow the business.
And I think, there is definitely a challenge. There is a tension there, and all business owners want to keep their costs down, and I understand that. And that's why I say I think it's a societal or a governmental thing in a way, because the lessons we can learn from the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution massively drove up productivity, massively drove up UK GDP, and so forth. But it also displaced massive numbers of people from rural living into living in, terraced houses in constant smoke, never seeing the sun, and all that. The dark satanic mills of William Blake. But and we can learn from that. We can learn from the deindustrialization of the coalfields and what have you, where again a very similar mistake was made, where we just went, I don't need those people now. And I think a good society in the 2020s and 2030s can say, okay, this is here, and we can't put the genie back in the bottle. How can we use it, and how do we protect people, and how do we protect jobs? And how do we make sure that it's a net good? And I genuinely believe it can be a net good. We were talking earlier about diagnosis, medical diagnosis. There's a really interesting project in a country in Africa where AI was used to ingest a whole load of data and very, very quickly predicted and resolved all the water leaks in their rather aged infrastructure. So those kind of things, there is a net good there. And for small business, you can be faster, you can be better, you can produce better, you can predict the market better, you can adapt your products better, all those kind of things. These are things that it's not necessarily the thing I do now I can do better. It's the thing I do now I can do better and faster, and also there's a bunch of stuff that was previously impossible. It would never have occurred to me to do. And that's where we can start redeploying people. So I think, and in 2026, and we look at the world, but it is beholden on our leadership to a degree to care about the people.
Yeah.
Not always been their first priority, but yeah. So it's a challenging time. And I can see why people are worried, but I am optimistic, and I hope not naively optimistic.
No, and I think, mindful of time and as well with this is the other area that we were at a conference the other day as well, and someone brought up, and I know I'm going to get it wrong now, is like phantom AI, where what's happening is people are feeding AI with the wrong information deliberately, which is where, like you say, the grunt work comes in and is still so important to have there, because they use the example where we used to put in and say, I want to lose a stone of weight, what should I do? And it says you need to go out for a 10-minute walk every day, you need to eat more carbohydrates of this and drink 2 litres of water. Whereas where people are feeding into it, it's now coming out and say, well, you need to sit in front of Netflix, watch Bridgerton and have a hot chocolate and a rocky road. And it's because there is deliberate AI being put in, because actually it is all still human. Whatever goes in comes out, and it's that side of things as well.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with AI, actually. But yeah, I know. I think that is a risk, and actually it comes on nicely to one of my drums that I like to bang, which is about accountability. So I had an interesting conversation this morning with a corporate lawyer. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. We were talking about, so if I create a prompt for AI and ask it to do something legal, and in the course of executing that prompt it does something illegal, who is accountable for that? Is that me, or is it the AI company? Now, I would argue it should be the AI company, because they should have built something that understands that I'm in the UK, therefore I'm in England, therefore English law applies. And I have to operate within those constraints. Whether they do that, I don't know, and I'm not convinced. But the accountability thing, one of the things I have to say, a hammer is very useful if you're building a hospital. A hammer is also very useful if you want to put someone in a hospital. Right? The moral difference between those two is the user, not the hammer. The hammer is just a hammer, right? And the accountability is with the user, and that is still true. And I think people, not everyone, but I see cases of people who are sort of almost trying to outsource the accountability to the AI and say, well, the AI did it, so it must be right. And no. That's you never said that with Word. I produced a bad Word document. That's Word's fault. No. You typed the wrong words, and it's the same with AI. And particularly one of the other things that I think will start to come to the fore, AI and the things that AI does on behalf of your company carry the same kind of ethical and legal framework as if an employee did it. And so if you are a director of the company and the AI does something that it shouldn't, and that ends up in court, you can be pretty sure that they're going to go, well, you're the accountable director, you're the one, So you need those frameworks, you need to be sure that you're using it right. So there's a lot to think about, but there's the value of doing it and getting it right and having thought about it is greater than the cost of doing all that thinking, in my view.
And in full circle moment,
yes,
this is where you bring in the experts that can do that for you.
Yeah.
You bring in Nick, you bring in Select Technology, and you go and find that information. Nick, it's been incredible interviewing you. Thank you so much.
Very smoothly done all that. I like it.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us. We're going to grab all your details, all the links that everyone needs to connect with you, put them in the show notes and descriptions below. Go and ask the questions, find out where you stand with it. That's the first step. And then you can find out and use the skills that Nick and the team have got to actually automate AI and keep the persons in your business. Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this episode and you're a Kent-based business owner with a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can find out how to be a guest on the Kent Business Show using the link below. Be seen, be heard, be unforgettable.